Hi guys, this is step 1, day 3 we're coming into. So I just want to welcome you to the 12-step Overcomers program, a daily choice. So I want you to get used to this companion. It's a daily choice, and so one day at a time we're going to become an overcomer. And so I'm counting on you to participate as fully as you can. If you don't have your book yet, get a pad and a pen and piece of paper, and pause this for now, but get a pad and paper and just try to keep up with the lessons and let yourself expand, come into new things. I want to challenge you to be willing to come out of your comfort zone. We all have a comfort zone where we like to be, in control of things, but the best thing you can do is lose control of your life. And I say that in a good way, and you're going to see why really soon. Because when you lose control of your life, the way things have been, that's what's been disastrous for us, trying to maintain the control over our own lives. And so because in this first step, we're trying to come into an awareness that we can say we need help, and God will come in and help us. And so I'm going to start off in prayer. That's how I always start my day. Just, God, help me. Like I'm just in need of you every day. So Heavenly Father, I just pray you bless those who are tuning in tonight, and bless them. May you reveal something to them this night that could make sense, something that could uncover maybe some hidden things, some bad habits, or just things that are out of control in our lives. Lord, help us not to be afraid of that. Help us to give ourselves to the daily lesson, and we just pray that you would be invited into our lives to show us there is a path that leads to life, and there is a way to become an overcomer, and we can do this together. In Jesus' name, amen. So glad you're here. We're going to go into Wine is a Mocker. I hope you caught the first 2 lessons. If not, you can at your convenience. If you miss a day, don't get hung up on that. Just pick up on the lesson that day. If and when you have time, or if you have a lonely time at night, the reason I've designed these to come on around supper hour is that wherever you are, you can tune into it after dinner sometime, maybe in your lonely hour, later in the night, depending on how late you stay awake. Sometimes that's the greatest time of temptation, when we feel alone, we're restless, we don't know what to do. I'm encouraging you, that's when you want to tune in. Tune into this, invite a friend over if you can, expose other people to it, but tune in and let this time do something in your interior that's different than before you came, okay? So day 3, I'm going to read the 12 steps again just so we can get familiar with it. So the 12 steps of the Overcomers program is in the second page of the book, and it's step 1. I admit that I am powerless over the problem controlling my life, and I've asked you to be very honest about that. So that's just where we are today for the next, number of lessons. I admit that I'm powerless over the problem controlling my life. Step 2 will be acknowledge my belief that God, the source of all power, will restore me to sanity and sobriety. Step 3, I make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as he instructs me. So you're just saying, Lord, I need help. I just need you to come in and help me, like a sailboat out on the sea, putting up its sails, and the wind comes along and begins to carry that sailboat along. This is what's going to happen to you as you continue. You're going to learn to sail and enjoy it. It's going to be a good ride. Step 4, I determine to work with God to make a daily inspection of my character, that we're not afraid to let God inspect our interior, and that we honestly admit the things that we discover. Step 5, I admit the exact nature of my character defects to God, myself, and another person. Don't get freaked out by that. You're going to be well into the program by then, and you will begin to see the value of having someone to talk to, someone to open up with. And maybe you don't see anybody on the horizon now, but God will bring someone your way that you can say, you know what, they've been down this road further than I am. Maybe I could learn some things by opening up to someone who could help walk me through this. Step 6, I'm ready to let God remove all my character defects. Step 7, I humbly ask God to place positive character qualities in me. And you're going to become a person that even you're going to like if you let God do this in you. Step 8, I make a list of all the people I've harmed and become willing to make amends. Step 9, I make sincere amends to the people I've harmed and forgive those who have harmed me. So you can see the progression of these steps, how it's leading us to something very fruitful in our life. Step 10, I continue to practice daily what I've learned. We just go over the things you've learned. Step 11, I seek to strengthen my relationship with God through prayer and meditation. And that's just learning to have a nice quiet time, a pondering time where you're taking in new information, just asking God, lead me and guide me this day. Can you see how your day would go better if you stop to ask for wisdom or ask for favor? You're going for a job interview, you're trying to get things turned around, and all of a sudden things begin to work out. You're going to stop and say thank you. It's going to develop a nice connection for you. Step 12, I determined to take this message of God's peace and freedom to others. So as you come through this, you're going to be excited about what it's done for you, and you're going to have an opportunity to take it out to others. And so that's the encouraging part. You learn to give back. Addictions really is, we call it the kingdom of self, the kingdom of me, myself, and I. And the way to break out of that kingdom of me, myself, and I is learn to be a giver. As you're learning and growing, you share the things you're learning, you're growing. Your family's going to be excited for you. Your loved one that's, maybe prayed for you to come into contact with something like this. And they're going to really value the changes in you, and you're going to be encouraged by how excited they are for you. There'll be some people that will be excited, and there's some people that won't. Don't be discouraged by the ones that won't. Receive the excitement and joy of those who are with you. And I'm with you. I want you to know I'm believing that you're going to come through this in an amazing way. So today, day 3, Wine is a Mocker, is this title of this step day. I admit that I am powerless over, and again, you're going to, what's powerlessness mean to you? What are you powerless over to change in your life? It could be your addiction, alcohol, drugs, again, gambling, sex addiction, people. You have to have someone in your life. You can't be alone. All kinds of things out there that you can be addicted to. The internet, you can be caught up in pornography and all kinds of things that are just not right. And if you don't get control of your life, those things will come along to seduce you and make you not feel good about who you are. And if you don't like who you are, you'll take it out on all your loved ones. So be honest here. I admit that I'm powerless over. And just write it down. If you don't have a book, I encourage you to order one. Inbox me and order one. They're $20 for the book, and then whatever the shipping is in that, we'll work that out. But if not, get a book. I'll try to get the questions to you slow enough that you can get it even online. Okay, compulsive drinking or drug abuse is the most obvious symptom that you have a life-controlling problem. And catch the word compulsive. Compulsive drinking, you're at it continually. Compulsive drug use is the most obvious symptom that you have a life-controlling problem. Other compulsive desires may be easier to camouflage, but equally as difficult to overcome. At the compulsive stage, you may be able to choose when you will begin using drugs or alcohol. That's just in the beginning, right? But you cannot easily choose when you will stop. In the beginning, maybe you could just do it on the weekends or after work, but eventually it gets a hold of you more and more, especially for those of us that have suffered from an addictive personality. And you just need to find out who you are in that part of your journey. There is a definite progression from a little overindulgence to loss of control. Would you agree? There is a definite progression from a little overindulgence to loss of control. When you can't control your anger or you're lashing out at others, you have to have it, you're getting cranky, you're getting into a compulsion, overindulgence. At first, the loss of control may seem humorous. You're laughing and hooting with your friends. I remember that stage. And then all of a sudden it starts getting a hold of you. And it's no longer laughing and hooting. You're angry, you're frustrated, you're snappy at all those that love you, and it ruins relationships. So be honest with where you're at. You laugh at your lack of memory, the inability to stand up straight or drive a car, but it will not seem that way for long. You will go into a spiral, and it's always a downward spiral. And if you're in that spiral and you come to the bottom, and that's why you're here, I do want to say, God bless you for taking the courage to come and sit in on this. You're going to get nothing but good things going forward. And so sometimes we get so far down, there's only one way to look, and it's up. And that's when new beginnings take place. An overcomer named Mark told this story. During a drinking binge, he began to crave seafood and quickly decided that the best seafood restaurant he knew about was in Miami, Florida. Mark lived in Dallas, Texas. In order to eat at his favorite restaurant, he bought a ticket on the next flight to Miami and continued to drink on the plane. By the time he arrived at the restaurant, Mark was so thoroughly intoxicated that he could barely eat the seafood dinner he was craving. His foolish behavior cost him a substantial sum of money, and he has almost no memory of the restaurant or returning home. I'm sure you can relate to experiences like that. You went out to do something you really wanted to do, and you don't even remember enjoying it, and yet you wake up in debt or broke, lost something, I began drinking as a teenager to cope with the shame of childhood sexual abuse. And I believe many people get into trauma from their youth, and this is what starts it. Maybe you've never really looked back at some of the traumas that caused you to want to sedate, caused you to not want to feel anymore. And it's normal to do that. There's no condemnation in it. It's normal to want to camouflage and want to not identify the pain, the sources of pain. But unless you identify the sources of pain, you'll never overcome it. And so an overcomer is where you're willing to face the things that cause trauma in your life or cause the reaction, because you realize it's ruining all your future relationships. It's ruining your job performance. It's ruining people's trust in you because you can't even trust yourself anymore. And so that will all come back to you. As you move through this, people are going to be so encouraged to see what you're doing. You'll be encouraged, but make sure you're doing it for you. Don't do it just for your wife, or your girlfriend, your husband. Do it for you, and give people, say, I'm going to become the best me that I can be. That's a great gift to give people. I'm going to become a good friend to others, and I'm going to work through this, and I'm going to get comfortable working through this. So, so I began drinking as a childhood to cope with the shame of childhood sexual abuse. Don't be afraid to identify that. You're not going to have to right away. You'll have to keep it private. But at some point, God may give you someone that you can talk to and really open up about it, and you'll be amazed at the healing that will come. And that's not going to come in the first little bit, so don't let that spook you. Just know that as you develop, there's probably going to be some feelings and some things coming up that you'll want to talk about. And when you choose to do it, it's going to begin to bring healing to your soul. And the trauma can be overcome. It really can. The memory will always be there. Don't let people say you forgive and you forget. No, I've forgiven everything that's happened to me, but I still remember. But I don't have the pain anymore. The pain of my past is gone. By age 17, I was spending many nights at local bars, drinking, dancing, flirting. I always drank more than I intended, but tried to act sober. One evening, a handsome young man escorted me to my car. With drink in hand, I turned the ignition in my sports car, put it in gear to peel out, showing off the power of my impressive car. Unfortunately, the gear I chose was reverse. The car bolted backward and slammed into a large pole, causing me to spill my drink on my pricey new dress. I still remember my humiliation as the young man laughed and walked away. Since I could not afford to repair the damage, it took a substantial financial loss on the car when it was sold. This kind of behavior will always cost us something now or later. And so you may have to look over your life and what are the things that you've really lost through your addiction or through the things that you chose not to face in life that have caused you to not be a good friend, to want to lie and cover things up, to live in codependency where you always have to have somebody else to feel valued. Whatever it is in your life, maybe some of you have turned to feeling like you're not a good person, a good lover, and you turn to pornography, and that's turned into, porn, live porn, and that's a bad place to get because it ruins who we are. Or we go into fantasy, and nobody can live up to a fantasy that you develop in your mind because it's not real. It's very unreal, and it ruins relationships, it ruins families. Whatever area that you've been entangled in because of all this, let's just look at it honestly together and see what God will do. Everything that we do and keep inside is going to cost us something somewhere down the road. And what's probably going to happen is the people you love the most, you're going to hurt over and over again, and you're going to hate yourself for it. Maybe that's what you're feeling now. And you will get to a place where you can say, okay, this old person that I was, I do want to put this old person to death. I do want to be like a caterpillar, trying to get out of that cocoon and turn into that glorious butterfly. It's possible. And we're going to see how so many of you are going to experience that through this course. And you're going to go on to other things and really develop a new life. You're going to be a new creation, highly valued, and you're going to begin to like who you are. Maybe it may be hard to picture that now, but you can get to a place where you like the person that you're becoming. You like that you're putting effort into becoming better and giving your spouse a better person, a better lover, giving your children a better parent. It's not too late. You can become a better parent. And just say, Lord, show me how to do this. You're the author. You wrote the blueprint of my life, and I haven't looked to you, and Lord, I'm sorry for that. Please come and show me the way. And you do that whenever you're ready. It's just whenever you're ready to do that. But I will tell you, from the time that I called upon the Lord, I was in a prison cell, 4 months in an isolation unit, 3.5 months at that time, and I just got to the end of myself, and I said, God, please, if you can show me a better way, and if you can help me get my life turned around, I'll help others. So that was 40 years ago, and this is my giving back by helping you. And you'll do the same for others. And I have a lot more joy in helping others than taking from everybody, stealing and pillaging and angry at everybody, angry at the world. I much more enjoy helping others get their life on track. I sleep better at night. I see people's faces that I've had relationship with and growing in. I'm developing a new relationship with. And I'll be here with you right through to the end on this. And even when this is over, if you want to still stay involved, I have other things that I'm involved in. I have some spiritual development things that I do each morning. Sunday nights, if you want to tune into our Sunday night at 6 o'clock. The reason I didn't do this 7 nights, I wanted to do it Monday to Saturday. So Sunday nights, you might want to tune in at 6 o'clock to our evening service where we have some, songs that are just praising God. It's a very edifying evening and very current contemporary songs and music, and they're all recovering people that are singing, recovering addicts, people that are in a program or moving through it, and they are so good. They're learning skills they've never had. The guy leading it was in addictions, heavy addictions, and is now on staff in a recovery house. And then we have a testimony. Each week you'll hear a testimony of someone that's maybe where you are now. They were there and what steps they took to get out of that hole. And now they're doing well. So be encouraged by these things. So that's Sunday night at 6. I encourage you to plug in. And if and ever when you're through Moncton, come and see me. We'd love to have you. Welcome you into our Overcomers meetings or any other meetings that we're doing. You're welcome to be part of our community. We want to connect you to healthy community going forward. Okay? So in Proverbs 20 and verse 1, the Bible calls wine a mocker. To mock means to make fun of, ridicule, insult, or laugh at. Write down the 3 worst instances when your compulsive behavior or life-controlling problem mocked you. Maybe for some of you it was alcohol or drink, and maybe you became foolish and it made you look like a fool. Can you think of any instances? So here it's saying, write down 3 of your worst instances and just let your mind remember. Don't be afraid to remember. It's just going to show you the foolishness of that lifestyle, and you'll start seeing the foolishness and you won't even like it anymore. I'm telling you, after a while, you're not even going to like the high that those things offered you, because you're going to find a better high. You're going to be intoxicated with the love of God, with His presence, with new relationships. Not religion. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about real relationships, a real God helping real people, and He's there to help you and be to you what you need to move forward. That's really what He's about, helping you, His creation, to live the life you were designed to live. And you're going to have fun in the journey if you let this take over your life. Just think about how it's been on your own. How have you done on your own? How has it been? Think about that. How have you done on your own? I had to come to grips with that. I didn't do well. I made a mess of things. So I said, God, come in and show me a better way. And that's how it began for me. This is 40 years into it, and I'm having fun. I'm having the time of my life. I love it. Even during this lockdown time, I find ways of being creative and reaching out, and I'm not going to be stopped because I'm going to help people. That's my promise to the Lord, and that's what I do, and maybe some of you will do the same for your network. So just take a minute, write down, anytime that you felt that your addiction got a hold of you and made a fool out of you, whether it was binging or pornography, maybe you got caught and exposed and you just felt so ashamed. Don't be afraid to write down the awkward moments. And you can come back and do this after it's done. You can go back over the site. The question is, write down 3 worst instances when your compulsive behavior or life-controlling problem mocked you. I encourage you, let that ponder through your mind and write it down. Risk it. Write it down. Put your name on your book, or get a pad of paper. Just keep that private. And if you want to tear it all up when you're done, that's fine. But just start to express what's in, and you watch. You're going to start feeling lighter. You're going to start feeling better. And that's just the way this program is designed to help. You may have great dreams for your future. That's why I have dream up here. Dream about a new beginning. Dream about new relationships, because these things are possible. You may have great dreams for your future, but God says you will not achieve them if you continue in a lifestyle of compulsive, self-serving behaviors. Sooner or later, you will lose many of the things you have worked so hard to possess. And here's a scripture verse for you. Remember I said every day there's going to be a verse or 2 that speaks to your life, and just see how practical these are. He that loves pleasure shall be a poor man. If you're always loving getting high and doing that, your money's going to go. I know guys that get paid and it's gone out the window, just that quick. And it'll get a hold of you more and more until you're spending hundreds a night and sometimes thousands. He that loves pleasure shall be a poor man. He that loves wine and oil shall not be rich. For the glutton and the drunkard shall come to poverty. The glutton, those that eats all the time, you're just filling yourself with all kinds of, you're gonna get big, for one thing, because you're getting your identity out of eating. You're comforting yourself. As you get the true help you need, if weight is your issue, you're going to be able to lose some weight because you're going to start liking who you are. You're not going to be eating comfort food all the time. You're going to make better choices. You can do this, and I'll help you do that. And so will the Lord. He's here for you. What do the above verses say will happen if you continue in your selfish way? I will not be wealthy. I will not, because you're going to give it all away to your addiction. And that will come to poverty. Right? It'll take everything from you. How many of you had nice things in life at one time and you got to a place where you lost it all? Some of you know exactly what I mean. And if you haven't lost it all, some of you are about to lose it all because you're on that slide down into that pit of loss and despair. And depression will turn into deep depression. if you lose hope in who you are, and you lose the hope that people could value who you are as a person. Write this verse on a small card and keep it with you throughout the day. Read it often, think about what it says, and challenge yourself to memorize it. Remember, every day I'm going to give you a memory verse. This one's very easy, it's very short. For the glutton and the drunkard shall come to poverty. And the glutton means he who eats all the time, you're always craving, because cravings are there. And I believe with all my heart, to the degree that we don't learn to love God and honor him, there's a gaping hole inside of us that we're trying to fill with something else. And when his presence comes into you, when you're finally ready, he's going to fill parts of you that you'd never dreamed with peace and with joy. And you just won't need to have those cravings anymore. You won't crave the same things. Today I crave the presence of the Lord. In our recovery program, we have a favorite saying there's no high like the Most High. Because once you get filled up, you start feeling good on life and feeling good on it feels good to feel good. It really does. And there are good feelings that come along with that. The reason we want to get high is we know inside we're created to feel better than we feel. And so we're looking for something. And then we get into an addiction. And then our life gets ruined because we're looking to what the Bible calls an idol. An idol is something that you look to for comfort before you look to the presence of God. And God wants to restore us back into fellowship with him. He'll fill you with his love, fill you with his hope, fill you with the ability to be a good lover, a good communicator, and your life is going to change. So take that verse to heart, memorize it. For the glutton and the drunkard shall come to poverty. It'll take everything from you. Pornography. It'll take every good relationship from your future. Because if you get into fantasy, you're going to create the most perfect images in your mind, and who's ever going to live up to that? Women who are married to men involved in pornography, they are shattered. It breaks their heart because they can't compete with the fantasies and what other women are doing in that kind of a world. They want to live a nice lifestyle and have a good relationship, and you get into that, and there'll never be enough. It'll ruin your relationship unless you get out of it. So I'm encouraging you, if it's in pornography or the area of fantasy, it will destroy those things. So learn to live in reality and be comfortable in reality because you like who you are. It's all about learning to like you. And if you love you, you'll love others. So here's where we sign off on our contract again. Today, and I know you may not have the book, but today, mark this down, today I will make right choices. Write that on your notepad. Today, I will make right choices and regain control of my life. This is a one-day contract with you and God. And do it one day at a time. And one day it'll turn into a week. And a week will turn into a month. And after a month, it'll turn into a habit where you'll start gaining your life back. And you'll enjoy it more than you ever have because you'll be so thankful that you've come out of those dark days into the light again. So today, I make right choices and regain control of my life. Put the date. Today, I believe, is the 11th, I think, of January. And then sign it. Cal Maskery. That's my signature. You sign it and say, today, I will make right choices and regain control of my life. And remember, this day is from now, when we're doing this step, until tomorrow when we do our next one. Take that as your 24-hour period, and you'll be clean and sober when you come to tomorrow night's meeting. That's what we're asking for. So God bless you, love you, and I'm here to encourage you, and let's make the most of our choices. Okay? We'll see you tomorrow.